Everyone's all good from the tech side as well? Very good. Societies and services, shall I pass it to the front? And I'll leave you to your list for the evening.
No bias whatsoever.
Everyone's all good from the tech side as well? Very good. Societies and services.
Yes, with that, good evening everyone, and welcome to our first elections hosting night. Tonight we will be beginning some identification for civil societies and services candidates. We'll ask the candidates up to each category, and then they'll give a short speech each before answering some questions that the union has prepared. Then we'll open it up to the floor for questions. As you can see, there's a QR code on everyone, and if you have questions for any of the candidates at any point with any of the categories that we have today for candidates, just submit them, and then we'll be going through them. Any questions that are not looked at tonight will be shared with the candidates so that they can then answer them at their leisure. Remember that everyone here is quite nervous, so don't shout out or call out, let's keep things friendly, and it's a really good opportunity to learn what all these candidates and next year if they are elected. Any questions that are not looked at tonight will be shared with the candidates. First up, we have our Societies and Services Officer candidates. We have Connor Snake, Emma Levy, Hannah Mamby, Olusola Babatunde Michael, and Bernie Kowalska. Welcome. So, first up, we have our speeches. Connor, if you'd like to go first, you have 2 minutes to go through our societies and services. After Connor, we'll have Emma. Emma Levy, Hannah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, nice to meet you all. I'm Connor, and I want to be Society Services 2024. A bit about myself. I am currently the president of the Barrister Society. I'm the vice president of Shoreline Theatre. Last year, I was the secretary of Barrister Society, treasurer of Shoreline Theatre, and associate secretary of Conservation Society. So, I've held the general main positions of my society, so I do know generally what that side of it wants, which my manifesto has very much catered towards. And then also on the other side, I've known the services too. Like, when I do my exams, I like to go in JCs. I like to go in JCs those days. JCs. I've held the general main. This Saturday night is moving, but it's just one of those things. But yes, generally, one thing about me is that I've been on the society for 20 years.
Okay.
I pushed for the Sport Society to be a non-profit society instead of an entity. I'm really glad they're thriving because of it. But yeah, I have pushed. I've had society to be my main thing more than anything else. Probably not the best thing for my degree, mind you, but it's one of those things. But yeah, I'm a third-year law student. Society is my main thing, and I've got a lot of experience with that. Yeah, nice people. I have pushed.
Hi guys, my name is Emma. I'm a current third-year student studying criminology and justice. For the past 2 years, I've been committed to the Criminology Society. I've been in positions such as president, vice president, treasurer, society. I've also worked in JCs for the past year, so I have general understanding of what that society, what they present. For societies, I like to advise Society of the Month, and maybe give a cash prize that would go to the society's account. I'd also like to unify and create a more efficient food system to help societies. And then I'd also like to create a treasure-specific training session so that treasure job efficiency and better. Services-wise, I'd like to work with Swansea Employability Academy and create more internships, seminars, and even like a career fair. I've done a lot of work that social science so far within that area, and I'd like to continue that if I were to be elected as Societies and Services Officer, and also as Societies and Services Officer, I'd like to work internships and spread awareness of disability youth and help people get diagnosed with things like ADHD, dyslexia, autism. Right now is when it matters. And also, I know a lot of people struggle.
Hi, I'm Hannah and I'm a third-year geography student. I'm running to be your Society and Services Officer because the societies and services have had a big role in my student experience. Through societies, I've managed to meet so many people, many of which are my close friends, and try things that I wouldn't have done otherwise, like in my society. And I want to give people the same experience, if not a better experience than I have, and encourage as many to do as possible to be able to take role in my student experience. I want to be a friendly place and be approachable so that anyone can or any queries they have within the SU. Currently, I'm the president of K-pop Society, and last year I was secretary when we ran Society of the Year. I'm also a member of the book club and Geography Society, and previously I've been members of the Conservation and Animal Therapy and Tree Society. Like Connor, I'm also on the Society Executive Committee, where we approve funding and approve new societies, so I have experience working with the SU staff.
I don't think so.
You're safe.
I'm also work for the events team for the SU, so I run the Paint and Sip events, and so that's given me a chance to meet students, and I think it's nice to have other events on as well, not just drinking ones. So all this
I don't think so. Okay, good.
allows
You're
me
safe.
to see all the benefits that the SU brings, and I really want to push to get as many people to participate in this as possible. And then I think it's nice to
social first-year students of economics and business department. This is my first year in this university. I'm talking about my experience. I'm an international student. I was in Nigeria. I was the president of my community that comprises of 4 different first-year students. I served as the intermediary between the youths and the landlord in my community. In organizing different activities like the youth carnival at the end of the year. And during my service, compulsory 1-year National Youth Service Corps in Nigeria, I was my CDS president, Community Development Service, that was heading the youth service in the community, in relation with the during my service, also served as the president of the community during my short period. I was my service. And with this experience that I have, I know with an international student, I will be able to encourage international students in relation. You know, we have a lot of international students now. So across the globe, from Africa, from Asia, and other places from the world. And I'll be able to start experience as an intermediary within the school in accordance with the rules and regulations to make sure we have a lot of together for the students, both for the students on the campus and off the campus. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ronnie, and I'm a third-year media and communication student, and I'm from Poland, so I'm an international student, and one of my biggest points in my campaign is to show that international students are just as much a part of Swansea University as UK students. So yeah, I really want to show that representation, and I'm already doing that with my campaign.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our second night of elections Hustings. Tonight, we will be getting to know your sports, Welsh Affairs, and welfare officer candidates. We'll ask the candidates to come up from each category. They'll give a short speech to introduce themselves, and then we have some questions prepared in advance from the union, and then there's an opportunity for questions from the floor. If you have any questions you'd like to put forward to any of the candidates, we of course have a QR code on the screen above me, so go ahead and scan that and you can submit those questions. Anything that doesn't get looked at this evening or presented to the officers this evening will be at a later date shared with the officers, so the officers can still at that time choose to answer any questions that link in with an opportunity for them to talk about why they would be your best choice. This can be quite a nervous event for everybody, so please don't shout or call out. Of course, applaud when people give answers to everything, and let's just keep things friendly. First up, we have our sports officers candidates. If the three of you could come and join me, please. We have Megan Chagger, Ellie Whiffen, and Leah Morgan, and you can just take a seat behind the table here. Welcome. We'll start with our speeches. We'll start with Megan. Just a reminder, you have 2 minutes and we'll give you a 15-second countdown at the end. So whenever you're ready.
Hi guys, I'm Meg. I'm a third-year sports science student and the current captain of the cheerleading team. I've been a Swansea Siren for 3 years now, coaching the team for the last 2 years and developing the club further this year as my role in captain. Before coming to uni, I was involved in elite gymnastics and have since carried on with coaching and judging the sport, from recreational children to elite international GB athletes. I'd like to use my previous knowledge and experience from elite sport to integrate and develop our high-performance pathway more across all sports at Swansea University. I believe this can be done with the help of additional funding being provided to more individual athletes and sports teams through commercialisation of our social media platforms to partner with local businesses and sports teams. Securing additional funding would allow for further development outside of the game too, in regards to further developing our facilities and ensuring the correct provisions and equipment are available for all teams at the uni. Away from the sports itself, I'm also interested in introducing new campaigns such as Gentlemen's Day to Match Ladies Day and GWA's Got Talent to build further relationships across sports teams to get together for a night of fun, similar to the white collar boxing Johnny had introduced this year.
Next we'll have Ellie.
Hi, I'm Ellie. I'm running for sports officer because I want to make sports in the uni for everyone. So my campaign is all about inclusivity in sports. I feel I'm a good match for this because I've been on a committee for kickboxing for the past 4 years. So I've served as a secretary, social secretary, and I was our first ever female captain, and I'm our first ever 2-time captain. I've worked closely with Sports Swansea, and I feel that I have the knowledge to help develop the sports teams further and make sports inclusive for everyone to improve everyone's sports experience at university.
I'm Leah. I'm currently a postgraduate student at the university. I've got an undergraduate degree in maths. I play football for the university. I've been a part of the club for 4 years and I'm currently on the board of the club. I've been on committee for 3. I was vice captain in my second year and I've been club captain since. I've played a variety of sports since I was quite young, and just want to tell you a few reasons why I think I would make a good sports officer for the university. One of the points on my manifesto is inclusion. I come from a male-dominated sport, so I'm quite keen on pushing women in sport and minority groups. Another thing I'd like to work on is mental health in sport. I know that Georgia introduced the welfare officer last year,
but I feel like the training for that role hasn't quite been up to standard for what it should be. Another point I have is Wednesday timetabling. I'm, as I said, a postgraduate student, and I know that we have quite late kickoffs sometimes on Wednesdays, and I think that it stops students from getting involved, the fear that they're going to miss out on contact time. From my own experience, another point I'd like to bring up to university is student coach support. This year I've been a player coach for the twos in the university team. Luckily enough, we secured funding through the Lego fund, so we've been able to put through a few of us through our coaching badges. And finally, the last part I'd like to bring up is marketing media for all the clubs, because I feel like currently not all clubs get the same representation on social media and the chance to hold ticketed events like the rugby and things, and I think that's quite a good opportunity for clubs to have. So, yeah.
Diane, well done, everyone. Now we'll move on to our first question from the union for the night. So question 1. Participating in sports can give students a lot of skills and experiences that are transferable into the world post-uni. How would you go about getting more students involved in sports? And we'll start with Leah.
So I'd like to make all clubs a positive environment for everyone. I think that all clubs should have beginner level entry standards for everyone. I think also taster sessions shouldn't be charged, they should be free, because I think that also puts people off. And the distribution of sport on campuses, I think that at the moment most of the sport is on Singleton. That's probably because of lack of facilities on there. I know that they're quite difficult and expensive to get hold of. And just promotion of sport across social media platforms, I think that's something that the university needs to take advantage of. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Megan?
I'd encourage more participation across the uni by hosting more intramural events to show that it is not just competitive Bucks teams that matter to the uni. For example, you can introduce a derby day open to all students who can create their own teams, enter into sports and play against the rest of the teams across the day. It would be a great way for any current athletes to also try and include their other friends, e.g. course mates and housemates, into sport, but there is no pressure on performance, and it is also a great way to meet new people, which helps to build their confidence and can lead them to wanting to join a sports team. Events like this would really reinforce the enjoyment of sport, and that sport is open to all, not just the best athletes in the club. Providing more opportunities at lower level competition reduces the pressure on students who maybe aren't as confident as capable and still allow them to participate. I would also look to incorporate current sports committee coaches into the Get Active campaign created this year to help build relationships between the new athletes and the clubs, improving the communication and breaking down the barrier between committees and athletes. E.g. the netball sessions being integrated with the intramural coach to try and help them meet new people who also enjoy the same things. Lastly, I would look to increase and grow the hardship fund and make it available to athletes at the beginning of the academic year when memberships and kit are usually purchased to try and make all sports more accessible.
Thank you, Megan. And Ellie?
To increase student involvement, I would boost Freshers Fair, ensuring that the preparation and content is to an equal standard across all sports. And I really push for Refreshers Fair to go ahead and have as much effort put into as Freshers Fair, so we can recruit students each term. I would also continue to promote and showcase student sports on our social media platforms and physical advertisement around campus. I'd also like to continue with the hardship fund, as it's shown in our club, especially this year. It's helped a lot of students join, increasing our participation. I'd also ensure that clubs have enough kit and is in good condition to allow for enjoyable and safe training. And finally, to increase involvement, I'd increase the site and facility maintenance. So I know that some of the facilities on campus aren't always to the best standards, so it can put people off getting involved and push them potentially to sports outside of the union.
Those are some really great answers. And now, on to the second question from the union. As sports officer, you would not only be a trustee of the Students' Union, but also of the university. What skills and experiences do you have that would help in this role of a trustee? And we'll start with Megan.
Being captain of one of the largest sports teams at the university this year has provided me with lots of opportunities to grow and learn. You begin to understand how making your decisions can affect such a large group, and how striving for the best, not just within yourself, but for the teammates around you, really develops the club itself. Being responsible for over 250 members puts a lot of pressure on you as captain, and you sometimes feel like you're constantly in a fight or flight situation with something that's gone wrong, and you debate why you're even gone for the role sometimes. But I always choose to fight, be a problem solver, and now have a great crisis management skills. But you also develop these skills because of the love you have for the club and the sport. I've worked with lots of different athletes, being a gymnastics coach, from preschool children to 60 plus adults, ranging in ability. So I've developed interpersonal skills over the years to progress in my coaching career, not just with working with the athletes, but also with their parents and other coaches and the wider community, and I think these skills would be advantageous if I were to become trustee.
Thank you, Megan. Now on to Ellie.
So I think the key roles of a trustee would be to run the SU effectively, comply with laws, have a strategic plan based on our members' needs, and provide financial security. Being on the captain for 2 years on my committee, and on my committee for 4, I have very good time management, leadership, and drive to achieve goals. Working with a team is crucial for ensuring that we're complying with laws and policies. So I'd have good teamwork and trust with my fellow colleagues. For a strategic plan based on members' needs, I have successfully increased our club's members and competitors by having a set plan, but also being dynamic and open to change and criticism, having good communication to learn what isn't working and what can be added or improved. For financial security, I have handled our club's finances for the last 4 years, always ensuring that we have sufficient funds. And I understand the importance of budgeting and sticking to a budget model. Overall, I have capability to make decisions that are for the greater good, even if they're not popular or wanted decisions to make.
And Leah.
As I mentioned earlier, I've been on the committee of the club for 3 years. This year we obviously went under restructuring. I've been put on the managerial board as well, which obviously involves working with the men's club. I think that it's no debate that the women's setup obviously hasn't had the same structure and leadership over the years that the men's has, which is something I've really worked on this year through my leadership skills and being able to manage the club effectively. Especially being club captain, it's allowed me to develop my conflict skills, as Ellie and Meg touched on earlier. I think that sometimes you do have to make decisions which don't necessarily sit well with everyone, but you have to ultimately make the decision which is right for the club. I've got a strong sense of ethics. I'm committed to acting in the best interest of the university. I've demonstrated this through the way that I've managed my own committee and club over the past couple of years. I've always made football a place for everyone, no matter the background or ability. I have a strong knowledge of how the SU is run, and I have full confidence in my own moral compass, which has always allowed me to conduct and present myself to the highest standard.
Thank you all, and now we'll have some questions from the floor. So, first up we have, how will you support and shine a light on smaller clubs and respond to their specific needs? So, how will you support and shine a light on smaller clubs and respond to their specific needs? And obviously, I'm also happy to repeat that as many times as is helpful as we go down the line. We'll start with Ellie.
So I would build on the current development officers that are in place. I would get the uni to work with the development officers to give them sport-specific knowledge. Because I found that, especially in martial arts community, the SU aren't very knowledgeable on martial arts. So getting the development and recognition and working with our development officer is quite difficult because they just don't know the support that we need, and that obviously needs to change. So having development officers with sport-specific knowledge would be a step in the right direction.
Megan? How will you support and shine a light on smaller clubs and respond to their specific needs?
Well, I'd like to obviously shine on their achievements by introducing a is like not a magazine but like a article that comes out once a month, and all sports can write their own little paragraph of what they've done in that month or what they've achieved, any competitions they've done. Because I feel like unless you're one of the major sports that compete every Wednesday, no one knows what goes on inside your club and knows when to compete. So it'd be good to promote across the GWA platform all sports and their achievements as well, and having regular meetings with the sports officer to ensure that what you need is being met instead of just like emailing and being more personal with it.
I think the first thing I'd like to do is look at the support available for, I think it's called the matrix structure now, for smaller clubs, because I don't believe that smaller clubs should be weighed and judged. Like, for example, the charity work on clubs the size of cheerleading and rugby. I'd also like to look at the hardship funding for things like student coach support. I think there's something that the smaller clubs generally lack, and for example, I know I spoke to a canoe club earlier this week, and they have to pay out of their own pocket for some courses for the club to be able to run, because they can't have like undergo activities or competitions without those resources. That's something I'd really like to look at and review for all smaller clubs.
And now a second question from the floor. Many trials and taster sessions take place in Term 1. How would you make sure that January entry students also get the GWA experience? So many trials and taster sessions take place in Term 1. How would you make sure that January entry students also get the GWA experience? And we'll start with Megan.
Well, in the Matrix this year, it is actually part of it to at least attend January Freshers Fair. So that's a way of ensuring that each club should be there and is promoting themselves and giving the same opportunities to any January intake students. But I do think that every club should be doing tryouts in January/early Feb, just to make sure that they are opening themselves up, even in an intramural level, to new members joining in the team.
Leah?
I'd like to put a culture in that all clubs have to take in so many students in January, because I know especially with football, we have lots of, especially last year, that joined because of COVID and things, that they couldn't join in September, and sometimes we wake up that there was no place in the squad, and I think that it should be compulsory for all clubs to hold these taster sessions, and especially make them free and accessible to everyone.
And Ellie?
Yeah, I would just also introduce into the matrix compulsory. I think the tasty sessions, it should be the first week is free, because I don't feel one session is a good representation of a sport. So if you introduce that into the matrix and held ourselves accountable, booking tasty sessions like on the SU page, then we can keep track of who's been offered a tasty session and if clubs are complying with it.
And a final question for you this evening, and you will have survived your Hustings experience, so you're doing really well. The question is, how will you encourage non-sporty people to get involved with sports, physical activity, and healthy living at university? So the question is, how will you encourage quote-unquote non-sporty people to get involved with sports, physical activity, and healthy living at university? And we'll start with Leah.
I think the intramural side of sports is really important, and I think that reducing the cost of those is important as well. So I think that, especially at the moment, money is an issue for people, and I think that it encourages more people to get involved. I think that making the sports more accessible for people as well, so like spreading it across both campuses, because I know that obviously STEM subjects tend to study on Bay and others on Singleton, so I think spreading it all out across both would be a big step.
And if we could have Ellie next, and then Megan will finish up with you. Yes, I can. How will you encourage non-sporty people to get involved with sports, physical activity, and healthy living at university?
So I think I build on from the Get Active scheme by adding more sports clubs into the scheme and adding more sessions on Singleton and Bay, so that there's a wider range of sports available, and we're just increasing the accessibility of it.
How will you encourage non-sporty people to get involved with sports, physical activity, and healthy living at university?
I will also continue to promote the university's ethics on healthy lifestyles, like the smoke-free zones on campus. I can continue to promote those and just promote the ethics of the university gives out around a healthy lifestyle.
I think I try and get all sports teams to really promote the benefits of just general physical activity and get them to explain why it's not just about the physical benefits, it's also about the mental benefits of just getting out, being active for an hour a day, or meeting new people, and just building on that side of it instead of the continuous, like, becoming part of the team and training every week. It can be more about the mental health side and just ensuring that people are always feeling that they've got someone to go to within the club and like coming along, even if it's just coming to a socials to first to like build relationships and then increase the training, and backing the campaign more with more sports teams, as it's currently aimed at like more general sports that you sort of cover in PE curriculum, so widening it.
Diane, well done. Can we please give our sports officer candidates a massive round of applause? And just a reminder that your candidates are Megan Tracker, Ellie Whitman, and Leah Morgan. Thank you very much. Nesaf, mae'n gennym ni ein ymgeiswyr ar gyfer sgwyddo'r materion Cymraeg. Os hoffech chi ymuno ni ar lwyfan, os gwelwch yna. Next, we have our Welsh Affairs candidates. If you'd like to join me up here, please. And our candidates are Ellen Jones and Maxim Davis. We'll start with the speeches. So, Ellen, if you go first, and then Maxim. Just a reminder that you have 2 minutes, and you'll have a 15-second countdown at the end.
Noswaith dda, Ellen Jones dwi, a dwi yn fyfyrwraig trydydd flwyddyn yn studio Cymraeg y Cyfryngau a chysylltiad y cyhoeddus yma yn Abertawe. Dwi yn wreiddiol o Ynys Môn ond bellach wedi ymgartrefu yma yn Abertawe. Dwi'n unigolyn brwdfredig ac angerddol ac mae gen i llawer o feddwl tuag at y Gymraeg yma yn Abertawe. A dwi'n credu bod y Gymraeg wedi bod yn rhan annatod o fy mhrofiad i fel myfyrwraig. Rwyf yn llywydd ar y Gymdeithas Gymraeg ac wedi bod yn lywyd bellach am 2 flynedd ac wedi mwynhau cael arwain y Gymdeithas Gymraeg a'i ffynnu dros y 2 flynedd. Hefyd, dwi wedi gweithio yn agos iawn efo Academi Hôl Teulu a Coleg Cymraeg Cenedlaethol, a hynny fel intern marchnata i Academi Hôl Teulu ac yn gynlys Gened am 2 flynedd i Coleg Cymraeg Cenedlaethol. Hefyd, rydw i yn llysgennad myfyriwr ac yn aelod brwd iawn o aelwyd Gymraeg y Brifysgol sef aelwyd yr Elych. A dwi eisiau parhau i weithio yn y Gymraeg ac i roi cyfle i siaradwyr Cymraeg a pobl sydd ddim yn siarad Cymraeg ond eisiau dysgu fwy am yr iaith a'n treftadau o fewn y Brifysgol. Hello, good evening. My name is Ellen Jones and I am a third-year student studying Welsh, Media and Public Relations here at Swansea. I'm originally from North Wales, a place called Anglesey, and I moved into this beautiful city of Swansea. I have been a president of the Welsh Society for the past 2 years, and the Welsh has been an integral part of my experience here at Swansea. I have been a part of many things to do with Welsh in university, and I've worked alongside the Academy Hall TV, where I've been a marketing intern for them, promoting Welsh and doing lots of different content through the medium of Welsh for them. I've also worked alongside Coleg Cymraeg Cenedlaethol, where I have been an ambassador for 2 years, and that role came to an end just before Christmas. And I'm currently a student ambassador and a very proud member of the Welsh Aelwyds, which is Aelwyd yr Elyn. And I want to continue to work on the Welsh and to give Welsh speakers and non-Welsh speakers the opportunity to learn about the language and culture here at Swansea.
As most of you know by now, my name is Maxen, and what can I say? I'm as Welsh as you get, really. I've been part of the committee of Rugby Towers for 1 year, my second year, but this year, due to the work, I've decided to take a step back, focus more on my studies. I'm a geography student studying geography in Welsh. What can I tell you? Family, good gosh. My grandfather's a part of his local choir. My family roots are in mining. You know, like I said, as Welsh as you can get. For this, honestly, the path I want to choose is just to include everyone. You know, Welsh is a language and a culture. It's not just for its people, it's for everyone. Nobody should be excluded in this university, whether it's in Welsh, English, everyone should get the opportunity to do everything possible. And I believe that if you vote for me, maybe that opportunity will come to rise. Helo, dwi'n Maxen, dwi'n Cymro i'r Bôn. Mae teulu gennyf sydd wedi bod yn... Mae teulu gennyf yn o'r adre a maen nhw mor Gymraeg a fi. A dwi'n sef gwywyn yna rili. Dwi wedi bod yn rhan o bwyllgor Clwb Rygbi Tawe yn ystod yr ail flwyddyn, ond nawr ac ystod trydydd flwyddyn, rydw i wedi cymryd cael yn ôl a ffocysu ar fy ngwaith. Beth cyweithio chi? Y prif pwynt I fi am nawr yw I jyst neud yn siŵr bod bawb yn cael cyfle I werthfawrogi Cymraeg ar y iaith a wrth gwrs y ddiwylliant gryf sydd gen yn yr Abertawe. A dwi'n jyst yma, sorry, dwi'n jyst moyn yna I bawb I cael cyfle. Diolch yn fawr. Thank you.
Joyful, thank you. Now we'll move on to 2 questions from the union, and can you repeat them at some point? I can also do that. Gyda deddfa iaith Gymraeg newydd nawr ar y waith, should bydda ti'n sicrhau ei bod nhw'n cael ei gweithredu yn y brifysgol? With the new Welsh language laws now in full effect, how would you ensure that these are implemented in the university? We'll start with Maxen, and then we'll have Ellen.
Diolch yn fawr. I'll start with Welsh this time. Ar gyfer y techneg hon, ar deddfa yma'r Llywodraeth Unol Lawr, hoffwn I gymryd ffyrdd fwy gymysgiedig o gael bobl I ddysgu Gymraeg yn brifysgol. I ddechrau, byddwn ni am sefydlu cymuned Gymraeg chwaraeon. Mae'r ein dal yn aros I weld beth fi'n moyn, beth byddwn nhw'n moyn. Yn ogystal â hyn, hoffwn I pwyntio wybodaeth Gymraeg sydd ar gael I fyfyrwyr Gymraeg a pobl sydd am ddysgu I caniatáu nhw I weld beth sydd ar gael I fel rhan Abertawe yn edrych ar e-bost a wybyddu nhw fel ydyn nhw'n fyfyrwyr yn wneud. Yn ogystal â hyn, hoffwn I sefydlu un lle ar bob bwyllgor y brifysgol. yn seiliedig yn unig am pwynt cysylltiad Gymraeg. Yn ogystal â y pwynt nesaf yn anuniongyrchol, stuff is going on, boys. Hoffwn i dechrau boreon coffi yn JCs, yn fath o pythefnos i alluogi myfyrwyr i gael cyfle i siarad, neu am arfer Gymraeg. Yn ogystal â hwn, hoffwn i sefydlu cymhelliadau siarad Gymraeg, megis 5 off meintiau yn JCs, just so you can cael tro. Right, now for the English. Sorry, Jenny.
With the new Welsh language laws now in full effect, how would you ensure these are implemented in the university?
Thank you very much. For this, I'd like to take a mixed approach. The first of all is a direct approach, which will first of all have Welsh night lessons. Secondly, I would like to make Welsh learning info points across both campuses of the university. As well as this, next, I would like to go for the indirect or informal ways of learning. First of all, I would like a sporting community comprising of Welsh speakers and learners, just to give people the opportunity, as we've seen with Rugby Tower and previously Aylroy Tower, which have been disbanded. But if I am to be elected, I would like to remake this community with, first of all, by reinstating the netball and then further going on to further sports. Following this, for informal, I would like to put Welsh committee members on each committee for sports and societies within the university. As well as this, coffee mornings in JCs once every fortnight, just to let people practice and maybe just have a conversation in Welsh or some light refreshments. As well as this, I would like to put in Welsh speaking incentives within the SU. For instance, say something in Welsh, have a pint off, have a £1 pint in JCs, 20% off, whatever Sarah wants, she gets. But that's all from me. Thank you very much, guys.
Dwi'n angen ymarfer Cymraeg. I need to practice my Welsh. And then the second question from the union. Mae'r rôl hon yn cynrychioli siaradwyr Cymraeg a siaradwyr Gymraeg yn y prifysgol. Should bydde ti'n mynd ati I feithrin amgylchedd lle mae diwylliant Cymraeg yn cael ei dwyn I blaen
Sorry, Jenny.
Dechrau iaith Cymraeg newydd nawr ar y waith, should bydde ti'n sicrhau ei bod nhw'n cael ei gweithredu yn y brifysgol? With the new Welsh language laws now in full effect, how would you ensure these are implemented in the university?
Felly, cath yr polisi iaith i roi ar waith ar y 10 Ebrill 2018 ac bellach wedi cael ei addasu gan Swyddog Cynllunio Cymraeg presennol, sef Tom Cam. Dwi'n credu bod yn bwysig I addysgu pawb o fewn brifysgol amdan y polisi iaith hwnnw, roedd yn staff neu'n fyfyrwyr ac nid oedd yn ymwybodol bod y polisi ar gael ac mae pawb angen bod yn ymwybodol ohono fo, oherwydd yn dilyn y mesur yr iaith Gymraeg y gath I roi yn 2011. Dwi'n credu bod yn bwysig I ddilyn y rheolau yna ac I sylweddoli ac I bawb cael gallu I wybod am eu hawliau nhw o fewn y brifysgol ac hynny ynglwm â nod I Llywodraeth o gyrraedd 1 miliwn siaradwyr Cymraeg erbyn 2050 ac hefyd I hybu ymgyrch mae gen I hawl mwyn I fyfyrwyr I sylwi ar eu hawliau ac yn ogystal hynny I fyfyrwyr di-Gymraeg I sylweddoli ac I hybu nhw hefyd efallai I anodd nhw I ddysgu yr iaith drwy hynny. Felly yn sicr, byddai'n sicrhau mod I yn addysgu staff y brifysgol drwy cynnal webinarau, sesiynau, ac wedyn o hynny hefyd yn hybu dathliadau Cymraeg ac I wneud y Gymraeg yn elfen graidd o holl dathliadau ac I fyfyrwyr oherwydd gallu sylweddoli ar bwysigrwydd yr iaith, boed yn fyfyrwyr Cymraeg ac hefyd yn fyfyrwyr di-Gymraeg.
With the new Welsh language laws now in full effect, how would you ensure these are implemented in the university?
So the Welsh policy was put out on the 1st of April 2018 and has lately been adapted by the current Welsh Affairs Officer, Tom Camp. I want to make sure we educate staff and students within the university of those policies, and that is to link in with the Welsh Language Policy 2011. I want to as well make students aware of their rights, Welsh students aware of their rights as students, and also non-Welsh students aware of the rights given as well. So I want to make sure we educate people on those rights, and maybe through webinars or for staff. And I feel like if we teach people about their rights, then it'll be easier to make the policy an integral part of all celebrations throughout the uni. And then also I would like to make sure that Welsh is a very key part of all events within the university.
Eto, mae'n drwg gyda fi. This time I'll make sure I let both of you answer questions before I do anything else. Do put the microphone down. Question 2 from the union. Mae'r rôl hwn am cael rheoli siaradwyr Cymraeg a siaradwyr di-Gymraeg yn y brifysgol. Should byddwn ti'n mynd ati I feithrin amgylchedd lle mae diwylliant Cymraeg yn cael ei dwyn I flaen y digwyddiadau ac yn helir gan yr ymdeb a'r brifysgol, pa fath o digwyddiadau bydded ti'n ei awgrymu? This role represents both Welsh speakers and non-Welsh speakers at the university. How would you go about fostering an environment in which Welsh culture is brought to the forefront of events held by both the union and the university? What kind of events would you suggest? And we'll start with Ellen and then Maxim.
So yes, as I've stated in my manifesto, I want to make sure that fel noddir yn y manifesto, y iaith a threftadaeth yn amhau o ddyddiadau brifysgol, a dwi eisiau sicrhau ein bod yn ychwanegu cynhyrch Cymreig ym mhob agwedd o ddyddiadau brifysgol. Dwi wedi siarad yn llawer iawn o bobl gwahanol a maen nhw yn bobl di-Gymraeg, ond efo gymaint o ddiddordeb o fewn yr iaith a'n treftadaeth ni. Fel chi'n gwybod, maen nhw'n fyfyrwyr sy'n dod yma I Gymru ac yn sicr mae gennym nhw'n ddiddordeb mewn cysgu mwy. Felly, dwi eisiau sicrhau ein bod yn dod â profiadau traddodiadol yma iddyn nhw yn Abertawe. Dwi'n sicr eisiau rhoi cyfle iddyn nhw ddathlu ein diwylliant ac cael ymdeimlad ei bod yn rhan o'r gymuned Cymreig yn Abertawe. Felly, swn i'n hoffi wneud rhyw ddigwyddiad eitha tebyg I Eisteddfod cyffredin, ond yn ddigwyddiad ar y campws sydd yn dod â holl elfennau Cymreig mwyn I wneud nhw'n teimlo'n rhan ohono fo. Oherwydd, efallai felly nhw ddim yn mynd I Eisteddfod cyffredin, ond mae'r Eisteddfod yn dod iddyn nhw. Felly cerddoriaeth, cyfle gystadlu yn Gymraeg a'r Saesneg, chwaraeon, bar, ceg cymdeithasu a hefyd stondinau Cymreig. Yn ogystal â hynny, dwi eisiau sicrhau I bod nhw yn cael teithiau addysgol, felly ymweld â Tigol yn Thomas neu gwahanol bethau I wneud efo hanes tywysogion Cymru, oherwydd mae dim bawb I hanes a mae sicr mae pobl eisiau dysgu fwy amdano fo. Ac yn ogystal â hynny, byddwn yn hoffi cydweithio gyda partneriaethau eraill, megis menter iaith ar mwyn gwneud profiad gorau posib. So, as stated in the manifesto, I want to make sure that the language and culture is a core part of the union celebration. So, by doing this, I want to add a representative of Welsh in all aspects of celebrations. And personally, as a student, I've spoken to many non-Welsh speakers who have a keen interest in learning about our language and culture. So I feel like if we bring the traditional Welsh experience to them, that will ensure they get the feel of the community, the Welsh community. So I would like to bring an event like the National Eisteddfod to them on the campus, because some might not be able to go to the Eisteddfod, to bring the Eisteddfod to them and doing Welsh music, competing in Welsh and English, sports, bar, and to socialise, many various Welsh schools. In addition to this, I want to ensure we have educational trips, not only to places, basic Welsh places, but to many places to do with our ancestors and the princes of Wales, and also Dylan Thomas, who is, for example, a Welsh poet, and I feel like many people would love to know more about that. And in addition to this, I'd like to partnership with many Welsh organisations in Swansea and across Wales, like the Inn and the Mentor Iaith, in order to give more opportunities for students to celebrate and learn about our language and culture.
Wel, ble i dechrau? Cyntaf, hoffwn i mynd ati i dathlu dathliadau traddodiadol Cymraeg sydd ar gael i ni yn barod. Wrth gwrs, mae safle Stringlen jyst i bod, a ges i amser wych, ond falle rhaid chi byth rwy'n gwybod beth oedd e'n lle gyntaf, a na beth hoffwn i dechrau wneud os byddwn ni'n cael ei etholi. Yn ail, hoffwn i sefydlu Gwyl Cymraeg Abertawe, sydd wythnos sydd i gyd am Cymru, y diwylliant, yr iaith, sydd yn gyfyngedig o popeth rhwng cael busnesau mewn, y brifysgol, neu gwaith gyda'r gyngen, neu gwaith gyda'r rygbi tawe, yn ogystal a'r gwasanaethau sydd gennym yn y brifysgol. Yn ail, hoffwn ni sefydlu teithiau efo cymdeithasau chwaraeon i gysylltu nhw yn bellach efo'r dymfarwyr a galluogi ni i wneud pethau yn gysylltiedig efo nhw. Bydde hyn yn gyfyngedig o fynd mas gyda cymdeithas hanes, i ardaloedd rhwng Abertawe neu bellach, a jyst cael teimlad well o beth sydd gennym yn Gymru. For the English. First of all, I'd like to, if I were to be elected, I'd like to look deeper into the traditions and celebrations we have here in Wales. I feel like many students have no idea that St. David's Day was yesterday. And it's just a bit sad, let's be honest. In order for them to realise, I'd love the university and the SU just to put some more things on, get people more involved, whether they're Welsh, English, or from anywhere else in the world. They are more than welcome to come and enjoy with us. Second of all, I'd like to make a Welsh week, just comprising of everything Welsh and Wales. This being bringing businesses in, working with local services, getting them in, getting students to interact with them, and just getting them to learn about the culture and what Wales has to offer as a country itself. Lastly, I would like to make trips a regular thing from the SU in collaboration with our societies and sports. Whether this is going over to Caswell and having a cheeky dip like Welsh Swimming did today, or whether it's going further afield just to play football or watch a football team or rugby team or anyone. Wales is so small. People don't realise that everything is on our doorstep and the students need to be there to appreciate the culture and everything else that Wales has to offer. Thank you very much.
Joel, thank you. We now have some very interesting looking questions from the floor. And just a reminder for yourselves, but also for everybody here or anybody watching online, any unanswered questions that are not addressed today will be sent to the candidates to answer at their leisure during campaigning. Because I'm being told that there have been some really good questions coming in. So, first up from the floor, we have, Shwt byddwch chi'n gweithio gyda'r swyddogion eraill I wella'r Gymraeg yn ei rolau? How would you work with the other officers to improve the incorporation of Welsh within their roles? And now, even though I'll continue to butcher it, if you need any of these repeated at any point, please feel free to ask. So, if we can start with Maxim, please.
As I've said previously, I would like to make a Welsh sporting community within the university, just to allow people to learn Welsh while playing the sports that they love. Although Tawe is already here, and we've lost the netball team, I would love to reinstate the netball team and maybe spread further to sports like football, hockey, and so forth. As well as this, I've got, as I said in the previous point, I'd like to make trips a thing with the sports and societies. So they also will host students, show them around, and so that would mean I would be working closely with the Society and Services Officer, just so we could both collaborate and get students more involved. Nawr y Cymraeg. Yn y mwynt cyntaf, o'n i wedi dweud hoffwn I sefydlu gymuned chwaraeon Gymraeg unwaith eto unwaith yn y brifysgol. Yn seiliedig ar gwaith Aberystwyth wedi wneud a Bangor. Hoffwn I mynd ati I esblygu o'r rygbi Tawe yn unig, ail sefydlu y tîm pêl-rwyd Gymraeg prifysgol a wedyn mynd ati I lledu eto. Yn ail hoffwn I wneud teithiau efo cymdeithasau a chwaraeon a cael nhw I hostio myfyrwyr gwahanol, so bydd hwnna'n ei gweithio efo'r swyddog cymdeithasau a services, that's it. But yeah, thank you very much.
Shwt byddwch chi'n gweithio gyda'r swyddogion eraill I wella'r Gymraeg yn ei roiau? How would you work with the other officers to improve the incorporation of Welsh within their roles?
Felly, fel nodais yn hynt o ran sicrhau bod pob yn ymwybodol o'r polisi iaith, yn sicr byddai yn ceisio addysgu swyddogion eraill o'r polisi hwnnw, ond hefyd I efallai cynnal sesiynau yn y swyddfa I addysgu pethau ar yr iaith. A I wneud yr iaith yn rhywbeth eitha anffurfiol, so bod y cyfle I nhw addysgu yr basics mewn ffordd a bod y dal mewn da, ond wedyn iddyn nhw fod yn ymwybodol o'r pwysigrwydd o'r iaith yma yn Cymru ac ymysg myfyrwyr Cymraeg a di-Cymraeg. Can I get it for English, please? Sorry.
How would you work with the other officers to improve the incorporation of Welsh within their roles?
Yes, so as I stated before about the Welsh policy, I will ensure that I make the other officers aware of the Welsh policy. I will also ensure that I communicate with them and give them a bit of teaching about the policy, but also sessions within the office to make them aware of basic Welsh words and to make them aware of the importance of using Welsh and Welsh culture to ensure that Welsh students and non-Welsh students get the chance to be involved with the Welsh community.
Question 9, question number 2. Pa brosiectau o'r swyddog presennol a byddwch chi yn parhau gyda? What projects from the current officer will you carry forward? And just give you 2 seconds to think, and we're going to start with Ellen.
Felly, yn sicr I mi, o'n I yn hoff iawn o prosiect Welsh Welcome o Tom Kemp wedi I roi allan, o'n i'n sicr yn meddwl bod hwnna yn syniad arbennig. Ac fel nes I sôn amdan y ddocliad eisteddfodol a dod â traddodiad Cymreig I fyfyrwyr yn Abertawe, byddai hwnnw yn gyfle gwych I rhoi
cyfle i esblygu ar y syniad a cael y cyfle i fyfyrwyr cael dysgu fwy am traddodiadau megis yr Eisteddfod a cael gymaint o stondinau gwahanol yna.
What projects from the current officer will you carry forward?
So I really enjoyed Tom Camp's project with the Welsh Welcome, and as I stated earlier about my idea for introducing like a little Eisteddfod to bring the traditions, Welsh traditions here to Swansea, I would expand on that idea and make sure that students get the opportunity to be involved in the Welsh culture and language.
Fel oedd Eilen wedi gweud nawr, oedd Welsh Welcome Tom yn wych, I fod yn onest. Don't get ahead of it. Ond, ie, yn ystod o hwnna, wnaethon ni ymwneud bellach ar y polisi mae Tom wedi gwneud ar gyfer y blwyddyn hyn. Oedd felly'n edrych yn bellach mewn i rannau a wedyn mynd o'n ni. As well as the Welsh Welcome that Tom did, I don't tell him not to get a big head from me telling him that was brilliant. But I would like to go on further and delve into the policy that Tom's made for the SU. Maybe just expand it further and bring it to its highest potential.
And then our final question from the floor for this evening. Mae digwyddiadau yn ymwneud â'r I diwylliant Cymraeg fel arfer yn denu llai o ymgysylltiad mewn cymhariaeth a digwyddiadau eraill a brechnir gan yr under. Beth byddech chi yn gwneud ar gynyddu'r ymgysylltiad? Welsh language and culture-based events often receive lower engagement in comparison to other union-organised events. What would you do to increase engagement? And we'll start with Maxim.
Well, first things first, you've got to look at the resource standard in front of you. The first place I'd go is to look to comms. Within the SU, get them to spread the word further about the events regarding culture and language that we have. And then, as well as that, promote it within our venues and our spaces, just to try and get the most engagement that we can. Y peth cyntaf byddwn ni'n neud yw siarad efo yr adran cysylltiadau comms. I can't remember the word, sorry boys. Within the SU, get them to spread the word throughout the student community here in Swansea, as well as going into our venues and our spaces as the SU, and then spread the word there also to get as many students as we can in to come to our Welsh language or culture events. Thank you.
Mae digwyddiadau yn ymwneud â'r iaith I diwylliant Cymraeg fel arfer yn denu llai o ymgysylltiad mewn cymhariaeth a digwyddiadau eraill a threfnir gan yr under. Beth fyddwch chi yn gwneud I gynyddu'r ymgysylltiad? Welsh language and culture-based events often receive lower engagement in comparison to other union-organised events. What would you do to increase engagement?
Felly, yn bersonol, dwi eisiau sicrhau bod dathliadau ar gael I fyfyrwyr Cymraeg a Gymraeg a sicrhau bod y digwyddiadau hyn yn dwyieithog a roedd gymaint o bwysigrwydd i'r iaith Gymraeg a'r Saesneg mwyn ehangu gymaint o bobl ni'n gallu. Ac yn ogystal beth oedd Maxen o ran y cyfrifon cymdeithasol y comms, dwi eisiau sicrhau bod yr comms yn cael ei roi ar y Cymraeg a'r Saesneg yn gyfartal a sicrhau bod y gwaith yn cael ei rannu yn deg ar draws y holl dosbarthau. So I want to ensure that events are very bilingual to ensure that the Welsh and English is very visible in the events, to ensure we give the welcome to Welsh-speaking students and non-Welsh-speaking students. Also, I want to ensure that the comms are very much looked at and ensure that the Welsh comms and the English comms are equal and we share as many comms as we can across all platforms.
Job both. Thank you both. Massive round of applause to our Singleton Materials and Cymraeg, our Welsh Affairs And on to our final candidates for this evening. We now have our welfare officer candidates. So if Max, Lesiak, and Abigail Iwatu could please join me up here. So welcome both. We'll start with speeches. Max, if you could go first, and then we'll move to Abigail. And as has been the precedent so far, you have 2 minutes for your speech, and there will be a 15-second warning at the end. So Max, whenever you're ready.
Okay, so I'm Max. I'm a third-year geography student, and I'm your current LGBTQ+ part-time officer for Singleton campus. My main manifesto points are really to do with inclusion within the university and the SU. So one of the things I'm planning to do if elected is to update the SU policy where the SU has provided a definition of terms like transphobia, homophobia, sexism, racism, and xenophobia. So it gives clear guidance on how the SU can deal with those issues when they are brought forward. Also, I would consider lobbying the university to adapt the definition as well. If possible, taking it to a national level on their NUS conferences. And yeah, one of the main things for both offices is dealing with student safety and well-being. So making sure that our relationship between the local police and council is as strong as it can be, and that students coming to them with their issues are taken as serious as any other member of the public. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Hi Mom, if you're still awake. My name is Abigail Iwatu, and currently I'm the welfare officer of the student union. In the past year, I have led the anti-spanking campaign, the period poverty campaign, where I got 13 grand from HEFQ and got sanitary products and made sure that they were free and accessible to students. I have also led liberation campaigns like the Black History Month and LGBT+ History Month. Currently, I'm working with the university to launch a report and a support service for sexual assault incidents. And one thing I want to do is to extend that to situations of racism, transphobia, homophobia, and other issues as well. I am very particular about safety, mental health, diversity, and inclusivity. I have done a lot of work on this in my time, and I hope that if I'm re-elected, I will continue with the work I have done. I believe that as the welfare officer, I am the voice to represent students and including underrepresented and marginalized groups. I stand for equality, diversity, and inclusivity, and will continue to ensure that these students feel represented if I am elected. I hope to ensure that all students feel like they have a voice while in university. Thank you.
Thank you both. And now we have our 2 questions from the union to start off finding out some more about what it is that you hope to achieve if elected. So question 1, as welfare officer, there are an infinite amount of national campaigns that you can get involved in. How would you prioritize which you'd support here at Swansea? And we'll start with Abigail, and then Max, if you could respond second.
So as welfare officer, you represent and prioritize the needs and concerns of students. The NUS each year release campaigns, and one thing we do as union is adopt some of these campaigns, one of which is cost of living, which has been beneficial for students. But apart from that, there are several issues that I feel like is very important because they are recurring. And it's either we prevent the situation from happening or just generally keep students like up to date and stuff like that. Number one being safety. I feel like if students don't feel safe, it's very impossible for them to have a good student experience. One thing I did was lead on the anti-spiking campaign, and we were able to purchase bottle stoppers, cup covers, and test kits. These were put in JCs in the office, and also handed out to students, just so that while we were out, we feel safe. Secondly, people in the audience might beg to disagree, but I feel like the main reason why people come to universities for education, sorry, I lied. But there's mental health, their hobbies, their sports, and every other thing in between. And in order for you to excel in these different aspects of your life, I feel like your mental health needs to be like at 100 or maybe close to 100, something like that. So I would support mental health campaigns. I would promote these things, for example, University Mental Health Day, World Mental Health Day, just to make sure the students feel your mental health and well-being are improved, basically. Thirdly, diversity and inclusivity. Swansea University has a diverse student body, and I feel like students need to feel represented. So I would support causes and campaigns that focus on issues with race, identity, gender, sexuality, religion, and every other aspect of identity, so that every student in the university feels heard, represented, and included. Thank you.
So I would, to prioritize certain campaigns or this, I would consider the student feedback. So whatever the issues the student face, that would be the main thing. And then link the issues, the campaigns that the NUS is doing, also coming up with our own. Also, one thing to consider is how achievable the campaign can be, because not every campaign is achievable, but that could be broken down into smaller ones. So yeah, like Abby said, one of the things Welsh officers do is care about your well-being, both physical and mental. So for the physical side, I would work with the sports officer to see how sports can be helpful within your mental health, and then working with the well-being team at Campus Life, I think, to see what resources we have along with that.
And now the second question from the union. Tension in the local community between students and locals can be challenging. What steps would you take to improve this relationship? And we'll start with Max.
So I only found out a couple weeks ago we have someone called the Community Liaison Office within Campus Life. So I would probably work closely with them to see what their local community has to say on the issues that they have with students. So one of the things I would do is to maybe form something on the lines of a student forum where the members of the local community can come and raise any issues they may have. And also students have to have open conversations with students and the SU. One of the things is to organize a community day, which would basically welcome anyone who's wanting to come on the campus and just see what we're doing as a university and a student union, and to show the better side of student life, not just that we are loud. Yeah, and also one thing is to educate students on basically how to be a good neighbour, because it's not helpful now, but it will be helpful later on.
Number one, I would say build these bridges between the local community and the students. I feel like we need to organize events. This could be cultural events, this could be sports events, this could be community service projects that basically brings the local community and students together. Because by doing this, we bring a sense of familiarity, and it would also lead to like positive relationship between the local community and the students. With this happening, it would be more difficult for local communities to take harsh actions when it comes to students. Secondly, I feel like it's important to address those concerns and grievances. Most of the reasons why we have these tensions because of things like noise, litters, or other disturbances. So I feel like we need to address these things, and I currently work closely with Steph, who is the community liaison officer of Campus Life, and things that we do is we promote positive and good behavior, good practices for students, but also we advocate for solutions that are beneficial for both the local communities and also the students. Thirdly, I would say is to, like Max said, to promote and raise awareness about how to be a good neighbor. I feel like a lot of these reasons why this tension happens because of misunderstanding. So by promoting and making students aware of why the local community feels this way, maybe there will be some sort of some sort of understanding and maybe more respect. So yeah.
And now some questions from the floor. After a long day of dealing with students and their complex issues, how do you ensure that you are looking after your own welfare? After a long day of dealing with students and their complex issues, how do you ensure that you are looking after your own welfare? Abigail first and then Maxim.
Number one, I think it's important to create that work-life balance. So once you come off from work, I would make sure I turn off my emails, turn off everything, and just focus on whatever is going on at home. Also, I would make sure that I continue my hobbies and make sure that I don't stop doing the things I like, listening to things like dancing, listening to podcasts, and all of these things, just to zone away and enter into like my own world. I also feel like it's also important to keep in check with my friends as well. Don't become isolated because of all of the things and the concerns I'm getting from students. So yeah, just be more present and be more mindful and things like that as well.
So one of the ways I'm kind of taking care of my well-being right now is going on walks with my friends. So next year, if I'm elected, I'm actually going to be staying with some of my closest friends, which compared to this year, I'm staying alone, which is not the best from a social perspective. So I think being connected with my friends and living in the same house would help. So as Abby said, turn off my email notifications, emails after I finish work. So yeah, I also on Thursdays to go out maybe. Yeah, that's good.
Thank you both. And now on to the second question. How will you approach the issues of safety on nights out? How will you approach the issues of safety on nights out? Max first, and then Abigail.
So in my manifesto, I was talking about student safety, and one of the things is, although we have strong relationships with venues like Sin City and Fiction and Jack Murphy's, I think we need to build those kind of relationships with the other venues on Main Street to ensure that they have the same anti-spiking measures as our partner venues do. Also working with the police that are doing patrols on Main Street. Also educating students on what is the behaviour that's acceptable during when being out. Yeah, thank you.
Hey, number one, just like Max said, I would, if I'm re-elected, I would continue to lead on the anti-spiking campaign and promote awareness and let students know about that. Secondly, I would implement the Ask Angela initiative and make sure that the bars and the clubs are aware of this. Thirdly, in my past year, I worked with the Police and Crime Commissioner of South Wales, and I will continue to do that and get student feedback on how they want to feel safe and feed that back to him and ensure that that is implemented.
And then our final question for the evening for our welfare officer candidates is, how will you increase support for marginalized student groups such as international students, queer students, and students with disabilities? And how would you celebrate our diversity? How will you increase support for marginalized student groups such as international students, queer students, and students with disabilities? And how would you celebrate our diversity? If we could have Abigail first, and then we'll finish with Max.
Support first. So we have our advice and support center run by the union. I would ensure that they are trained, they have the EDI training and it's up to date. I would also promote awareness about campaigns happening for our marginalized and underrepresented groups. One thing I did in the past year was arrange a series of focus groups for underrepresented groups, and here I got feedbacks of how they wanted to feel, how they wanted to feel more inclusive, or how they wanted to feel more included within the university. I will make sure that those things that were mentioned are implemented. In terms of celebrating, that's the second part, right? Continue to celebrate the national campaigns like LGBT plus History Month, Black History Month as well, and also ensure that all faculties are able to respect and make everyone feel included.
So in terms of, besides my manifesto point about taking the SD policy on the terms, I will also continue working with our PTOs from our liberation groups when they are collected. So celebrating LGBTQ plus History Month, and also ensure that in our disabled bathrooms, that's specific for disabled students, that the red cords that are uncut or tied up, because in most of them they are. Thank you.
Diane, both, well done both. Can we please have a massive round of applause for our welfare candidates? Just a reminder that your welfare candidates are Max Lesiak and Abigail Iguatu. Thank you all for attending or watching this evening. Just a reminder that voting opens tomorrow, March 3rd at 11 a.m. Make sure that you go to our website, www.swansea-union.co.uk/elections to read up on the manifestos of candidates. And also, once again, from 11 a.m. tomorrow, you can vote. Mosta, good night.
Stop it. I just Right? No, I never usually vote, so.